This episode of Macab at Midnight may contain content that is too intense for some of our listeners. This episode contains notes of animal harm. Hey, Lindsay, can you go answer the door, please?
Why can't you do it?
Because it's 3 a.m. I'm not answering the door at 3 a.m.
So you expect me to get up and do it?
Please?
Fine.
Thank you. Hello, Hauntling. My name is Alyssa, here with my ghoulishly gorgeous wife and co-host, Lindsay. This is Macab at Midnight, where we rate all things that sit on a scale, starting with the adorably spooky and ending with the truly disturbing. On tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about the black-eyed children, or black-eyed kid phenomenon.
That sounds creepy as hell. I'm not sure I like that.
I hope you're ready for it.
I'm not, but go on.
So before we get started, as always, just a few things, because it's been a while since we've actually recorded. The first thing that I want to address is the sound of the last couple of episodes.
Tragic that was.
It sounded like we were underwater. And
absolutely.
Let me tell you why. Okay. So our setup, you guys know we've told you we're in our bedroom, which is, our house is very small. So our bedroom doesn't have a lot of room. And, Lindsay is basically sitting at my grooming table and using that as a desk. And I am sitting on the bed with a suitcase. And my mic is on the suitcase.
There's a reason we don't use cameras at this stage.
Yes. And we tried to both sit at the desk last time because it kills my back to sit on the bed like this. Because I can't sit up straight, because if I touch the suitcase, it sounds like... So I have to lean forward. So we were like, well, let's set it up so that I can sit across from you. And I ended up sounding like I was underwater because even though we padded the wall behind me, I was closer to her mic. So I was echoing into her mic.
There was just no editing that out as much as we tried.
We did all of what we know how to do to remove the echo. It did not work. So I'm back on the bed because you guys are special. Also, you may notice I sound like garbage again. Guess what? I'm sick. Again. Even though I just got over being sick. I literally was at my fullest last Saturday. Last Saturday was really cool. My sister-in-law paid for us to go to a convention. We got to meet Andy Biersack. If y'all don't know who he is, then you did not go to high school in the early 2000s.
Way to show our age there, Liz.
Yeah, So I felt good that day. And then 2 days ago, Lindsay and I started working out again. And the day after we started working out, I woke up sick. So if I sound like I have cotton mouth, I'm sorry. I'm drinking as much water as I can.
She caught the con plague. It's what that is. Those con goers know what that is.
It's not con plague.
It's con plague.
No, I think it's the flu. I think I got the flu. The last piece of information that I wanted to go over, the most important bit of information, is we are changing our schedule again. As you guys know, last week we had a conflict of interest with our schedule. I got home, I sat my happy ass down to edit the podcast, and then all of a sudden I got a message from my teacher that was like, oh, this is late. Do it right now and I will spare you the grief of a C grade. Obviously not in those words. But so
it was more professional sounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, Lindsay, we have to post tonight at midnight, but I cannot edit this and do this assignment that I have not started.
I should mention that this is my trying my hand at editing, because I've never edited an audio file before. So I was like, well, I could try, but
so Lindsay,
I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah, she edited the Waverly episode. Thank you, Lindsay, for taking over for me that night. She is learning her editing. I'm still learning, as you guys know, but I kind of had to throw her to the wolves. So I always go back and listen to everything after it's been posted.
It was a little rough in some places, but
mine are still rough too because I still suck. So you know what? Good for you for
Well, maybe eventually we'll get good enough to not have any mistakes or be able to have someone who knows
what they're doing edit it for us.
Yeah.
That's how the cookie crumbles. We're going to go down to once a week. So We're going to be posting on Friday nights. If we post once a week, then we can do better research for you guys. If we go back and forth, Lindsay does an episode, I do an episode. So that gives us about 2 weeks to do our research.
It just means more quality content for you all.
The quality is going to be better. We're going to have better information for you guys. There will really be no reason for episodes to be late at that point.
Right, because here in the last couple of weeks they've been late because we've had so much going on. We've been stretched really thin. Just really tired. That may change in the future, but who knows right now.
Once Lindsay learns to edit, maybe we can go back to twice a week. We're going to do Fridays for now. Fridays at midnight. And again, we want to bring you guys quality content. We want to be able to stick to our word, and we're just spreading ourselves too thin. So we appreciate your guys' patience as always, and hopefully we can get ourselves sorted.
Right, yeah.
But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into these dark little entities that I call the Black-Eyed Kids. Actually, I call them the Black-Eyed Children, and they're technically called the Black-Eyed Kids, so I had a really hard time finding anything on them at first.
Are they actually kids, or is that just a name that they are given?
Well, I don't know.
I don't like that you can't answer that. They're like, oh, well, they look like kids. They just, maybe they're not.
You're just going to have to listen and find out. But before we get into it, I do want to note, if you're superstitious, listener discretion is advised, because they say once you know about the Black-Eyed Children, you're opening yourself up to them and they're going to come around.
Oh, man, I hate that.
They say that a lot about a lot of paranormal things, though.
Yeah, but that does not make me feel better.
Sorry about it.
No, you're not. You're still going to talk about it. If you were sorry, this would be the shortest podcast ever, ever.
All right, guys, we got to end it here.
It'd be over. We're like, yep, that was good. See you next week.
Okay. You choose to be here. I just want to point that out.
Yeah.
We're going to set a scene, and we're going to play a little make-believe, play a little choose-your-own-adventure.
Oh, goody.
Okay, so I hope you're ready to, interact.
I'm not, but let's do it.
You, Lindsay.
Me, okay.
You. I said we're playing make-believe. We're playing choose-your-own-adventure.
Okay, well, why is it got to be me? Why can't it be you?
Because I'm telling the story.
Fine.
I'm the narrator.
Okay.
So you, Lindsay, are sitting in your living room.
Okay.
It's just after work, and you're winding down.
Okay.
Maybe you have a little bowl of soupy soup. Have a little drinky drink while you're at it. Okay? Nice cuddle with puppos, argue with Gypsy over a cookie, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh. So, what kind of soup is it, though?
You're having some nice, spicy Japanese noodle soup.
All right.
Mafu tofu. Okay?
Something spicy, then.
Yeah. Suddenly, while you're having a nice cuddle with the pups, you get a sense of dread. But you can't tell why. Okay? Chetty runs to the kitchen with his tail between his legs.
Oh.
Yippee is yipping, but probably from the kitchen, because she's also scared.
Okay, so she's just making noise.
Yeah. As a chihuahua does. Unnerved, you get up and you walk your bowl of soup to the kitchen.
That sounds like something I do.
You walk... let me finish the sentence.
I'm just saying, if something spooky's going on and the dogs are acting funny, you best bet I'm picking up...
You're walking your soup to the kitchen?
I'm picking up and leaving. Okay.
Okay. So, unnerved, you get up and walk your bowl of soup to the kitchen and dump the remainder of your broth down the sink.
Sounds legit.
I, your lovely wife, inquire to you, as I always do, about why you're dumping your broth instead of just drinking it.
It's too spicy. You made it too spicy.
I didn't make it. It came from Kroger.
Well, then it's too spicy.
Oh my god. Okay, whatever. Anyway, we're bickering about the soup that you're wasting, that you always waste.
Uh-huh.
You're about to give me the answer that I've been seeking for nearly 10 years now, when there's a knock at the door.
Okay.
What do?
I say, who's knocking at the door at this time of night? because we work late. So obviously this is happening like really late at night.
I wasn't prepared for this answer.
At an obscure hour. So you're just like, okay, who the hell's at my door at midnight? That's odd.
Okay, can you change your answer to I answered the door? I wasn't prepared for this.
No. Ultimately, I probably end up answering the door because I know you're not going to do it.
No, I'm not answering it.
You're just going to be like, I'm not doing it.
I'm probably going to ask you not to do it.
In fact, what you would do, you would scoop up Cheddar and like run into the
run
bathroom.
to the bathroom
with
and
him.
hide. Okay, so yes, so good answer. You answered the door. And when you do, there are 2 children standing there. They tell you that they need to use your phone to call their mother because they're going to be late getting home. What do you say?
You don't have a phone? What kid doesn't have a phone in this day and age? Am I wrong? I mean, when I was younger, I didn't get a phone until I was 13, but I know like 7-year-olds have smartphones now, okay? So where's your phone at, Timmy?
I legitimately was not expecting to just, you don't have a phone?
I don't know what you expected from me.
Not that, apparently.
Well, it's not like I'm reading something I'm supposed to read from for my answers.
I guess
this is all improvised. Okay, you're welcome. You're all welcome for those.
I guess
like candid answers that you're getting.
I guess I just thought I knew you well enough, but I guess I was wrong. So I guess when you say to these kids that you don't have a phone, in the way that black-eyed children do, the girl says again in a robotic voice. Now I'm having improv because I wasn't prepared for that answer, by the way.
You're welcome.
She says that they need to call their mother because they're going to be late getting home. She repeats herself. The other child starts crying, but it seems fake, and the first child continues to repeat herself, almost robotically. Child number 2 now asks if they can use the bathroom, but it seems recited. What do?
Sorry, maybe I can call someone for you. No, I'm not helping. I am not letting these people in. I'm not giving them anything.
Okay.
I don't trust this.
Okay, but she's just gonna look at you and say to you again that she needs to use your phone.
Okay, well, by this point, I'm thoroughly creeped out. Okay.
Okay.
Because not only is it the middle of the night at this point. All right. But these are 2 children that don't seem to be acting like human people.
Okay, so
all right.
I'm gonna tell you what your next few options are, or I'm gonna tell you what you do next. Okay.
All right.
Or we're never gonna get through this.
Fine.
Okay. Because you're making all the wrong choices.
Oh, well, see, you asked me what I would do, and that's what I would do.
Well, yeah, but I thought I knew you better than that. So you look down to your hand to find that it is slowly moving towards the doorknob.
What?
That's what you're doing. I took charge. You jerk it back and tell the kids to go home before you call the cops.
That sounds right.
The children start demanding that you let them in, letting you know that they can't come in unless you invite them in.
Okay, that's sus.
And as they do, you notice that where they should have eyes, there is only darkness.
Okay, yep, I should have noticed that first. What am I doing?
Okay, but that's not how these stories go.
Okay, but how do you just, like, not notice somebody doesn't have eyes?
I didn't say they don't have eyes. I said they have dark eyes.
Okay, no, you said they have gaping holes where their eyes should
That
be.
is literally not what I said. I said there is only darkness. It's written right here. I did not say gaping holes.
Oh, okay, well, I interpreted it as that because I'm imagining just like big old empty eye sockets.
Well, that's not right. They have eyeballs that were like dipped in paint. Okay,
that doesn't sound right.
Well, that's what it is. Neither does holes. What do you mean? Okay, so this is a phenomenon that is apparently rising. It's called the black-eyed kids phenomenon. And as I said before, once you hear about these guys, there's a chance that you open yourself up to them and that you will come into contact with them. Of course, we've heard this with other paranormal entities. You remember the genies? The jinn?
Yes.
I have yet to come into contact with them, and I hope I never do.
Yeah, I don't either. Like, don't come knocking at my door.
Yeah. But worry not, Canada and Indonesia, because this is isolated to the United States.
Why?
I don't know.
That's it. I'm moving. I quit. I'm done being American.
I don't think. I think if you move, you get to keep being American. You just change countries. So there are thousands of documented reports of these pale-skinned, dark-eyed children. Usually they range from the ages of 6 to 16. They're usually in pairs or in small groups, and they always approach adults either in their cars or in their homes in the late hours of the night.
Oh, gross. I wasn't wrong about it being in the middle of the night. I hate that.
I said it was the middle of the night.
I hate that.
Where are you at?
On another planet. Trying to get away from the United States.
One child usually takes the lead, and I guess it's like the older sibling usually is the one who takes control and is like, oh, we need it.
Yes.
The excuse is usually to use the bathroom, or that they need to use the phone to call their parents or something like that. And when these kids are told no, they just continue to repeat it in a voice that is inhuman. There's no emotion in it. It seems like bad acting.
Wow.
When you turn them down, then the other sibling, the younger sibling, will usually start crying. But it's always very obviously fake.
Crocodile tears.
Yes. The person who these kids are demanding against generally will notice their eyes around this time. And they'll notice their eyes at the same time as their hand is like moving towards the door to let them in, to open the door.
Oh, so it's like involuntary.
Yeah, it's almost like hypnosis, I guess. But you feel the feeling of dread. And you're telling them no, but your body is like doing it anyway.
Oh,
involuntarily.
Wow. Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah. So that's generally how it goes. Now, when you feel the dread and the fear, those who have reported experiencing these kids, I guess they start feeling the dread and the fear hours and hours and hours before anything even happens. Some people say even like 2 to 3 days before. They just feel like they're being watched. They feel a sense of dread.
I hate that.
Well, people are not generally harmed.
So what do they do?
Well, people aren't generally harmed when they don't let them in, but they will have nightmares for like weeks following the events. The first reported occurrence of black-eyed children didn't happen until January of 1990.
Wow, that's not that long ago, actually.
No, not at all. This happened in a city called Abilene in Texas. The reporter, Brian Bethel, was on his way to pay his internet bill, and he pulled over to write the check. It was late, and the only light that he had was the light of a marquee that was scrolling. So his focus was on what he was writing, and suddenly there was a knock on his window. Rolling his window down, he was addressed by 2 children, boys between the ages of 9 and 13.
Oh.
Both boys were wearing hoodies. The older boy asked Brian if he could take the kids back to their mom's place so that they could get the money that they needed to go see a movie. I've heard that he thought to ask them and that they just voluntarily told him that they were going to see the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
I don't know which one's true, but the important thing to take out of this is that Bethel noted that the children wouldn't be able to make it across town to their mother's house because they gave him the address.
Yeah, in time for the...
And back to the movie in time for the showing. It would have been 2 hours, the movie would have been over. It was at this time that he noticed their eyes were charcoal black in their entirety. Brian rolled his window up and threw his car into drive, and when he looked into his rearview mirror, the boys were gone.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's gross.
So this is the first recorded report of the black-eyed children.
So did he just, tell someone about it? Did he email someone?
Oh, yeah.
Did he, beep someone on his beeper? Like, hey, man, call me.
He's,
beep, beep, beep.
I don't know who he told first, but he has done many interviews. You can find YouTube videos, podcasts with him. He swears by it. You can find this. In fact, it's hard to find, it's hard to find it written. Most of what you find is, him talking about it.
So it's the same kind of scenario what you hear about people and aliens or, alien abductions. That's the vibes I'm getting from it.
Some people actually think that the black-eyed children might be aliens.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have the pale skin.
The black eyes.
The black eyes, large black eyes, yeah.
Yeah, I guess I could see that in one scenario. It just sounds like kind of similar, like the encounters. Like, it's just mostly talked about. Like, you don't actually have recordings or anything.
Well, you can find a lot of stories like Brian's, and they all carry the same elements about them. There isn't really much known about these kids. We don't know what they are. Some people think that they're aliens, as we just said. Some people think that they're demons.
I could see that as well.
Other people think that maybe, given the request for entry, they're a type of vampire.
That, I mean, I guess that kind of fits right in with the legendary vampire.
Because vampires do, they...
Yeah, that's one of the things. They have to be invited into anywhere that they enter.
Right. People don't really know what happens when you do let black-eyed children into your home or car. The only known account of there being entry is an account that took place with an elderly couple that lived somewhere in Vermont. And we're going to call these people Mr. and Mrs. Vermont.
Okay. Are just for protection of their privacy and such?
Sure. I couldn't find their names.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was like...
It was late at night, as it always is. And there were 3 knocks. Specifically, that's what it said. There were 3 knocks. I don't know if that's normal to these stories or not, but this story recorded 3 knocks. Mr. and Mrs. Vermont answered their front door to find a young boy and a young girl standing there on the porch. The eldest, the little girl, told the couple that their parents were going to be there soon and asked if they could come in. Though hesitant, the couple allowed the children to come in. Mrs. Vermont went into the kitchen to make the kids some warm cocoa because it was cold outside, while Mr. Vermont sat in the living room with them and asked questions. The children remained silent as he asked, ignoring everything completely. Eventually, when the kids did speak up, they asked if they could use the bathroom. And when they did, Mrs. Vermont walked into the living room and asked her husband if he saw the children's eyes. She noted that the cat seemed angry and terrified of the children. Mr. Vermont exposed his hand to his wife, showing that his nose had been bleeding.
Oh.
Then the power went out.
Okay.
Mrs. Vermont tried to make her way to the bathroom quickly and heard the children tell her that their parents had finally arrived.
Oh, no, I don't like that.
The children went down the hall, let themselves out of the house, left the door open, and at the end of the driveway, the Vermonts could see 2 tall, skinny men standing outside of a car.
Oh, no.
The children got into the car while the men stared into the house before they finally drove off. Everything seemed normal after that. However, in the week following, their lives went into total chaos. 3 out of 4 of their cats went missing, and when they did find the 4th, it was laying in a pool of its own blood.
Oh my God.
Mr. Vermont continued to have nosebleeds, and within the week went to the doctor, only to find that he had an extremely aggressive form of skin cancer.
Holy crap.
He eventually passed away. That's the only documented case of these children coming into a house.
So these things just bring death.
Yeah. Or, severe misfortune.
Yeah.
It's just not good if you let them in. So, another phenomenon that comes with these kids is the white-eyed children. Okay.
There's more?
So, the reports of the white-eyed kids are newer.
Mm-hmm.
One story talks about 2 black-eyed children who knock on a guy's door. When they knock on his door and he opens the door, one of them remains calm and asks to be let in.
Yes.
The other boy seems to be panicking, which is really unusual for this sort of phenomenon. And he's telling the man that they need to come in. The man tells them no, they need to leave or he's going to get his gun.
Right.
The kid who's panicking is promising, "We will not hurt you. We're not here to hurt you. Please just let us in."
And that's not normal for these things?
No. Generally, whenever they come knock on the door, they're emotionless. Everything is very robotic. But one of them was panicking.
Gotcha.
Finally, they realize he's not going to let them in, and they rush off. The panicky one, curses the guy, fuck off, and they rush off.
Okay.
So the guy goes inside, and there's another knock at his door a few minutes later.
Uh-oh.
He gets his gun and goes to the door, and there's a girl standing there this time. She has white hair, and her eyes are white.
Ugh.
And she asks him, "Were there 2 black-eyed boys standing on your front porch?" He says, "What's it to you?" And she said she's trying to find them. So he looks at her, and hesitantly he tells her that they were there. She smiles and says, "Don't worry, you won't be seeing them again," and walks away.
Okay.
Do you have a theory?
So, I'm thinking the white-eyed ones are the opposite of the black-eyed ones, maybe?
So, like demons versus angels?
Something like that.
That was what I thought too.
Yeah?
But when I dived further into this, what I found was most people think that these guys are the keepers of the black-eyed children.
The keepers?
They think that it's a demon hierarchy.
Ooh.
And apparently, now I didn't dive into demonology, so I don't know if this is true or not, but in one of the books that I listened to, it kind of talked a little bit about demonology and how apparently different demons that are associated with different things will have like different eye colors. Which, if you recall, when we talked about the shadow people, it said sometimes they would have different eye colors.
Yeah.
But apparently, blue is for like demons who are lust, and purple's gluttony, and whatever.
That's not the first time that I've heard colors be associated with, like, especially like the seven sins.
Right. The colors that I listed are not right. I'm just
right.
That's just saying. The concept.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. I mean, it's not the first time that color's been an association to something like that.
Well, so they think that maybe white-eyed children are the highest, black-eyed children are the lowest, like newest level of demon. Okay.
Okay.
So that's a theory on these white and black-eyed children.
So, but my question is why are the white ones showing up like now? Like, why now?
Well, the black-eyed children didn't show up until the 90s.
Yeah, but that's still like almost 30 years ago.
I have no idea. Maybe these black-eyed children are getting out of hand? Maybe the end is coming and they're finally coming to Earth. I don't personally believe that, but that was one theory, that I heard, was that, like, it is, like, demons on Earth. So I don't know. I don't know why they're here now. I don't know what they want. I don't even necessarily know if I believe in this particular phenomenon.
You don't think it's a real thing?
I don't know.
Like a creepypasta type deal?
I feel like it's like an urban legend. I really feel like it's like an urban legend. Because it's happened to so many people, but it's only happened in the United States. Why, if these demons are appearing, would it not be happening worldwide?
Yeah, that is a good question. That's one thing that I was thinking when you first started talking about them. Like, what is so special about the United States that these things...
Or wrong. What is so wrong with the United...
Even, like, why wait until 1998 specifically? Like, why not sooner?
Right.
Why not, like, back in older times...
During frickin' the Civil War, or even like further back in Europe, we were talking about Vlad and how dark, things were back then. I don't know. And what's even more interesting is that they're showing up right before a time of technology when, in my opinion, people are becoming more closed off, but more people are seeing them now.
It could also be like, they said that with the uprising of technology, like anxiety and stress and things has like skyrocketed.
So maybe just like darker energy, heavier energy
and
for these things to feed
and
off
like
of.
Cases of depression have increased.
Right.
So like maybe they're creatures that feed on depression or anxiety.
Which we kind of talked about with the shadow people phenomenon, like raising as well.
Mm-hmm.
That it could just be like the rise in negative energy within ourselves and among people, like the universal mind or the universal energy.
But then, even then, that doesn't make sense, like, for it to be the United States, because we're, technology speaking, like, we're not even the farthest advanced. Like, why not Japan, if that's the case? Because they're further along than we are, as far as being technology advanced.
Yeah, but you think about it. Look at Japanese technology. Would that really make you sad? You got a little freaking robot cat feeding you pudding. Okay. Am I wrong? They got the coolest
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason I want to go visit Japan someday.
And it's because a robot cat is going to feed you chocolate pudding that is shaped like a fucking turtle.
I laugh, but there are like a lot of themed restaurants and things out in Japan.
I know!
And stuff.
I know!
So that wouldn't be too far-fetched.
I know. So, yeah.
So what do you think they are? Do you think that they're demons, or do you think they're more like aliens?
If they're real.
Yeah, if they are real. So say for for the sake of this discussion that they're real. So are they demons or are they aliens?
If they're real, I think that they're vampires.
You think that they could be vampires?
Yes.
Well, okay, go on.
Demons don't always necessarily need permission to gain entry.
That's fact.
You know,
I don't feel like demons need permission at all. They go where they want to.
They do what they want to do.
They take over.
Now, they're very like parasitic.
Yes.
Now, like if you have your spiritual armor or whatever that is, you know, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism, or if you like pray to the universal mind, whatever, you have your spiritual armor, you know, generally it's harder for demons to bother you.
Yeah, so the thing with demons is like they're only as strong as, you know, as you give them the sources to be. Like it's sort of like the idea of feeding off of fear or helplessness. Like
I don't agree with that. I disagree with that. I think that there are some very, very powerful demons that are already in existence.
Well, I mean, the argument there is that if you have a strong enough faith in whatever your faith is, that you can defeat a demon.
Or at least protect.
But you have to have that absolute belief. Like there can be zero room for doubt.
That wouldn't be. I don't feel like defeat a demon is the right. Well, I would say you could protect yourself from a demon, but not necessarily.
It'd be at least banish it from like your home, or like, you know, that's in theory that's how exorcisms kind of work.
Right, but those people are like trained in how to do it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it takes a lot of studying and expertise to do exorcisms.
But I think that's a different, like, I don't think that they're demons at all. I think that they're vampires. Because you think about it, like, again, I'm being very hypothetical here. Or like, I don't think these things exist.
Yeah.
But you think of vampires, you think they have to be let in. They have to have permission.
Yeah.
And they have masters.
Yeah.
And we have these wide-eyed children who are searching for them, keeping control of them.
They're like, oh, damn, they got out again. Don't worry, you won't be hearing from them again.
Right. I mean, that's literally like classic vampire. Think about vampire movies. When you watch them, there's the vampire that's running freaking wild, and then you got the master who's like able to interact with humans because they can control themselves.
Right.
You know, and they're like, oh, don't worry about this guy. I'll take care of him. Ha ha ha. So
in this theory, if they were vampires, that would totally redefine what a vampire is.
I mean, if there aren't different types of vampires, there's different types of demons.
I mean,
there's different types of angels. You know, we had a whole episode on aliens and how aliens might just be fairies. So
that was a theory. You're right. That was a theory that people have.
They could be anything. But I would say vampire is probably like the closest thing, especially since they're never in the reflections. Maybe they're gone, but that's another thing. Like you'll note in the first story, he looked in his rearview mirror
and couldn't see them.
They weren't there. Now, he didn't look behind him, so I can't confirm that they were like gone.
Yeah.
But they were not in his mirror.
You know what my theory is? I don't think they're demons either. I think that's a little far-fetched, as you said. Demons, you typically go where they want to and take over whatever and whoever they want to.
Right.
So I have a couple of theories on what they could be, if they exist.
Okay.
First one is that they could be some form of lost soul.
Like a wayward soul.
Yeah.
Then why would they always be children?
Lost souls of children, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, how many children go missing in general?
Oh, that is one thing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I didn't put this in my notes, but you reminded me.
Uh-huh.
I talked about how we don't really know what happens when you let these children into your house.
Yeah.
People who study the black-eyed children phenomenon believe that apparently the numbers are like 60,000 or something. People in America go missing without a trace of them ever being found again.
Yeah.
And people who study this phenomenon think that it could be these kids. Because the people aren't around to tell us anymore what happened.
Right.
You know, but I don't necessarily believe that.
That's kind of what I'm saying is that they could just be like projection of lost souls. Just like trying to find their way home, trying to be human again, maybe.
Then why would I'm not trying to pick your theories apart here.
That's okay. I don't really have much substance behind it. It's just something I thought of.
There's not a lot about these kids, so they're really hard to understand. But if they're lost souls, if they're wayward souls,
yeah,
then why are they hurting people why are they bringing a sense of dread?
I don't think they mean to do that. I think that's just something that comes with it.
Just like I accidentally scare you? What?
Yeah, it's just something that happens.
Okay, what's your next theory?
Okay, so another thought I had was, since we brought up fairies and aliens, I don't think they're aliens, but what if they are sci-fi fae?
I think that they could be, because you think, I'd love to do an episode on fae, because fae are...
Oh my gosh, there's so much, though. There's so many different types.
Many, and, they're terrifying. They're not these cute little twinkle twinkles.
No, they are not at all what you think they are.
And they take people away, and they feast on people, and...
Oh, yeah.
And, that, I believe that they could be fae. That would make sense, and could be a case of Seelie and Unseelie court here.
And I'm the dark fae are especially terrifying,
Right. And, you have these white-haired ones that aren't really doing harm to humans.
Right. But they're kind of chasing away the
dark-haired ones.
They're territorial, for one.
Well, and they're for themselves. Nothing good is gonna come of these guys coming to us. So, these white-eyed children could be chasing these dark-eyed children off. We don't really want to mess with the humans. That's just, we don't touch them. Humans are the untouchables to the Seelie court, basically. Okay.
Yeah, they are just gross, lowly creatures, below.
Right. And I think that they could be fae.
I think it kind of would make sense if they were real and they were fae, because then it would make sense that they, bring misfortune or something whenever they come in. Because then,
right.
You hear all the time oh, well, if you don't give a tribute to the fae, they take something from you.
Yeah. And you also hear that when you talk to them or you work with them, you need to be very, very specific. They will twist your words up, play with your words, So yeah, I do think that they could be fae. That's a good theory. It's not something that I really came across when reading about them, but knowing what I do about the fae, I agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the strongest argument I would have for them. Everything else seems more on the darker spectrum, a little more of a stretch. But I think that's what my going theory is going to be.
To be honest with you, I think the fae theory makes more sense than the vampire theory makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's just fae makes the most sense to me. I don't know. So, Lindsay.
Yeah.
What would you rate these black-eyed children?
Just because they're gross and creepy and do creepy things, I'm going to say this is a strong nope. Don't like that for me.
Just because I don't think that they're necessarily real, but it's the stories are pretty creepy, and I am a little leery about them showing up at my door, because I've heard stories about people being oh, these aren't real, and then things show up. I'm going to say that's scary. A little uncomfy.
Yeah, it's just a step worse for me, I think. I'm still skeptic on whether they exist or not, but if they do exist, just the fact of what they do and what they're capable of, nah, I don't like that. I don't like it one bit. Stay far away from me. Please do not come in.
So we got a hell no, and that's scary. But we want to know what you guys think. So let us know what you guys would rate these black-eyed children. Let us know what you think they are. Are they aliens? Are they vampires? Are they demons? Or do you think that the fairy theory makes sense? You should definitely reach out to us and let us know. And if you enjoyed this episode of Macab at Midnight and you like spooky things, then you can catch us wherever you listen to your podcasts and on YouTube. You can also help us out by liking, rating, subscribing, and commenting. We're always looking to improve, and we want to hear what you guys have to say. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, and TikTok. And if you want to hear us talk about something that fits on our scale of screams, or you have an experience or short work of your own horror fiction that you'd like us to share in our listener library, then you can email us at macabatmidnight@outlook.com. That email is also in our biography. Until then, remember to lock your doors, sprinkle a little bit of salt in the carpet, check under your bed, stay spooky, and we will see you in your nightmares.
And if you hear a knock in the middle of the night, don't answer it.